in and protest during the day, so we should be able to attend roundtables during the day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll
While
feed
our
that up
kids
to
are-
them, that day and night.
Yeah.
Both should be out there. See how they go forward with that.
And that the rural and small communities are represented as much as the larger communities.
Certainly. I mean, I think even if you look at our cabinet, it's made up of quite a few rural folks as compared to previous governments, so that's a good sign too as well. But I'm pretty sure Lisa and Christine are focused on rural and
You might want to put that umbrella down.
rural and urban areas as well.
We've got Fancha News here.
Hey, Fancha News.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Well, a little wet, but that's okay.
You know, it could be worse. Could be snow, right?
That is true. It's getting there.
Thunderstorm is starting soon, though, right?
Oh, well, yeah, hopefully not.
By lightning, yeah.
Would you mind just saying a few words about the cuts on the autism program?
Well, there's been changes to the autism program,
Changes, yes.
right? So our original proposal has been updated and modified. So we've increased the amount of money that we spent on the program to over $600 million. We are doing a review to determine how do we go forward with a needs-based program. We put a pause on the changes for the parents who are going to experience a decrease in their supplement for another 6 months to help prepare, and we're still committed to getting rid of that wait list. There's too many children, families aren't getting the support they need, and we're determined to end that wait list.
And what are you going to do if the children do end up in the school systems? How are you going to accommodate their needs in the classroom?
Well, certainly there's been additional funding put forward for April, May, and June of this year to help the schools accommodate that. But Lisa Thompson, Christine Elliott, and Lisa McLeod are doing a joint consultation of best how to create that wraparound service, because it is the school system, but it's also our healthcare sector that needs to be involved in the discussions. It's not just a social service, community service issue. It wraps around all those other ministries, and we're going to try to remove those silos and try to have a wraparound service for the folks.
And will you be providing some type of education for the teachers to help prepare them to have these students in their classrooms?
Yes, that was announced previously, that Lisa Thompson announced that there will be some support in supporting the teachers with regards to behaviors and children with autism entering their classrooms. I don't know the details of that, but it has been an announcement, and I expect them to follow through on it.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks for your
very
time.
much.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
one question, Jeff. With these services with the teachers and the funding
Yep.
and extra for the teachers. Now, everybody I know that is a teacher, their concern is that they are not therapists.
No.
And a one-day course is not enough prep to be able to successfully deal with these children in the classroom.
And it's also very hard too with the layoffs that are happening. Where'd Kirsten go? She left. What is it? I think it's 54 EAs from Thames Valley District School Board that are laid off now. How is that going to help with these kids if they don't have the support that they need? How are we going to stop kids from running out into the streets or off into the forest that's behind their school? Because that's what my kid does. My kid has no sense of her safety. Their kid jumps in the Thames River. Like, come on. Almost.
Now,
Like-
are they the permanent layoffs, or are they the typical ones that happen every year where they
No,
get
no.
the letter and then in 3 months' time
No.
they're reassigned to their school? Because I haven't heard of the layoffs happening in this area. All I've heard is the letters have gone out to the staff and teachers that they do every year, where they're going to get reassigned to a new school or what have you once the attrition happens and or teachers leave the profession. So I wait to follow up on that one.
Okay.
It's a valid question to ask, but
It is a very
definitely.
valid
I mean,
question.
in our budget, there wasn't the slash and burn. There's more money going into education, and it's coupled with the changes that we're putting forward that's going to make it sustainable.
But there's still the $1 billion cut to social services, which is where our autism funding comes from still.
But we have, so I mean, we're doubled the autism funding to $600 million. So
But
that's
that doesn't
not
show
a cut.
up in the budget.
It's in the numbers. It's there. There's also an announcement made There was also an announcement made after the budget was printed, so it's not necessarily going to be in there because
didn't say
the
that.
budget
Okay.
is printed in February. The announcement was in March.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of those in the social service, it's $1 billion over 4 years. But
It's
those
1.6 billion over 4 years.
So a lot of that money is going to be found with regards to getting people back to work in ODSP and in Ontario Works. We are allowing people on Ontario Works to keep $300 a month while they're getting a job, while staying getting their benefits. They can earn up to $300 a month until they transition to a better job. People on ODSP are going to be allowed to make up to $6,000 a year without a clawback. So our plan is to get people back into work and get into jobs, and a lot of those savings are going to happen from there, and that's where the budgeting has come from. The Special Services at Home program isn't touched, as Lisa
Yes.
McLeod announced.
Yes.
Is not touched. As Ms. Lisa McLeod said, there was a big worry that saying there's a big cut happening to it. It didn't happen. And we've doubled funding in the autism profile. So, I mean, not saying everything's perfect. I don't think you'll ever say that in government, that everything's perfect, but we're working, we're listening, we're trying to find a way forward.
But we can all go drinking at 9 in the morning.
Well, you know, I mean,
Tailgating. Next protest will be tailgating.
We're able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Those type of changes don't cost money. The people are saying about the license plate, we're saving $4 million. The contract had ended on that company. We have a new contract. We're able to redesign a license plate that the previous government was already working on, and we saved $4 million with that change. We're changing the driver's license security feature because that's come up on the contract. That's not an extra cost, but I mean, we're able to do other things. And we're trying
Change
to.
the logo of the Trillium, is that happening? So it doesn't look like men in a hot tub or something?
Well,
here?
that's just being changed. There's lots of plates in 2006 on that. And the best thing about that
Can't see
change in that logo is that's across all ministries, because each ministry kind of had their own take on it, which costs money. It's one logo for the entire government across the board.
Can I ask a question? So I have a friend at work who's not here today. Her son's on the wait list,
Yeah.
and I can say that her family is incredibly stressed out right now because he's been on the wait list for almost 2 years. He has to start school in September because he's on the wait list, but they have absolutely no direction as to. I asked her last night at work, do you even know who to call to find out about your funding? Do you have any sense of whether the waitlist still exists, or if there's been a lot of rumor that there really isn't a waitlist anymore because now they're going to be looking at everybody and kind of prioritizing children that are about to turn 6 and children that are about to age out of the program entirely, that are 17 turning 18, so they're suddenly going to get funding before the other children. Nobody really knows what's going on, and when they get the money in their hands, if there's even going to be services to purchase, if there will be availability in these programs for the children. So you got rid of a wait list by saying there's no more wait list, but money in the pocket doesn't provide therapy per se.
There's
You have to have
no
therapists,
transparency.
and the therapists themselves we're seeing on Facebook. There's the OAC is a big Facebook group. It has therapists and parents, and we're being told that across Ontario, therapists are being laid off because the regional providers are no longer getting the direct funding, so they can't justify paying wages to people when they don't know how many children will be able to afford therapy anymore, because such a large percentage will still have to be covered by the parents, and not many can.
Yeah, it's a transition period. I don't have the direct answers of how that transition is going period, but the wait list is over the next 18 months to be finalized and emptied out.
That's a long wait, though.
It is.
Mine
Well, it's-
means they're aging out of the $20,000
Yeah, it is.
cap. Right?
It is, and that's why they're trying to work with the children that are aging out to get them first. But I mean, it's 23,000 kids that they want off the wait list. It's a long time to transfer out.
Sure.
I asked your friend to work with their local MPP to ask those questions, or call my office and we'll make those inquiries. I don't have those direct answers of how the transition period's going.
You agree you've probably received a lot of emails and correspondence from very stressed out parents. This has caused a lot of stress, and unfortunately a lot of it could have been avoided if there would have been a little bit more insight into the changes. I mean, there's been a lot of backpedaling, and I certainly appreciate the fact that the enhancements are a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been really, really stressed. We have an autistic child at home that we're dealing with on a daily basis, and dealing about the fact that our lives are basically falling apart around us, and we don't know the future for our kids.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just stress. This is a lot of Ontario families in crisis. Like, that should not be happening here.
People sold their houses before the announcement of the enhancement. They already sold their houses. Like,
Yes.
you can't undo that.
No, because when you have an autistic child, a lot of them need that routine. They need that planning, and you can't just say, okay, well, April 1st, new programs rolling out. We don't know what's going on. We can't plan for that. So of course we are going to make the changes that we have to, whether it's selling a home or a vehicle or pulling out RSPs or whatever. I mean, if you're able to do those things, great. But we have to plan for this. We have to plan for these kids because
when we asked the regional providers, they didn't know the answers either. They're like,
No.
we don't know. We don't know what this looks like. That's the phrase. And we've heard the phrase before. I heard it when the Liberals made the changes too, not just blaming this government. The whole system's been flawed for a while, but this made it worse. Like, this caused way more stress, I think, to so many families. And we really haven't received any kind of apology for it. Like, we've, been freezing in Queen's Park. We're standing in the rain today. Like, we lost a lot of sleep. My husband and I, we were really, really stressed about it. We're like, you feel it, like you feel emotionally drained. It just, and then we're supposed to be taking care of our son and we're burned out. We're both working and doing everything we can. And then I drive to work crying. Like, people,
so you can't even get a break that way.
People don't just, like, I shouldn't have to drive to work crying. It's like consumed our lives, right? So, I mean, I'm a little bit more stable now that I know my son gets to stay in therapy until November. But that just bought us time. That I hope something valuable comes from the talks starting in May that can put all our minds at ease, because I don't know what people are going to do. Yeah, I really don't know what everybody's going to do.
Yeah, well, I hope there's a good conclusion to the conversations going on. I mean, you're not the only one that is undergoing the stress. It's all families with children with autism and other families as well with children with disabilities. And hopefully at the end of the day we come to something. It's not going to be perfect. I'll come up to say that. We are also dealing with other financial pressures in the government, but we want to provide the maximum support and end that wait list for the kids needing the support. So, keep doing what you're doing, keep advocating, show up to those round tables, keep talking about it, and we're listening, and we're hopefully going to make the right decision for you.
Do you want me to keep emailing you?
Sure.
But Jeff, just from a standpoint of keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
This premier said in the campaign, I'm behind these families 1,000%. You will never have to be on the lawn of Queen's Park. They're where they are because they've had to do the Queen's Park. They've had to do these fights. In terms of your argument about funding, and that's why I'm here in support of them, and I don't have a family with children with autism.
Right.
But in terms of funding, your plan to privatize part further the LCBO, well, we know that
We're not privatizing the LCBO.
not privatizing, but putting alcohol into corner stores. Let's be clear. It's going to take away from the LCBO. Make no mistake.
We'll be able to compete. Actually, we have studies showing they're actually going to make more money. So if we want to have a discussion about OPSU, I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about
in these programs. That's what I'm talking about. And
I'm talking to the autism. If you want to talk about OPSU, book a meeting. Come and talk to me.
I'm talking about the money.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, a good way out of it, because that's where your money is, folks. Is in the LCBO, going to the coffers of Ontario, and by them taking it to corner stores, there will be less going into the funding for the LCBO and less for these programs. And it is keep things public and keep it there, because then we have money for these services that should be paid for out of the coffers of Ontario.